We've all watched a WWE show before, wondering how the wrestlers were able to survive certain things, how some spectacular scenes were made. It is a fascinating universe that is full of mysteries. In this video, we are going to take a look at the other side of the mirror to answer all the questions you might have. One question we may ask ourselves when we watch a WWE show is how they make a wrestler like The Undertaker appear in the ring after a few seconds in the dark. The explanation is quite simple, even if it may seem crazy. He is actually hidden under the ring and quietly waits for the arena to be in complete darkness to get out and place himself in the ring just before the lights go back on. So here we could imagine the dead man appearing in the ring 2 hours after the beginning of the show and wonder, did he really wait all this time hidden? And even more since he would have done it before the first fans arrived in the arena. Fortunately, the answer is no. In general, WWE employees will take advantage of a commercial or a moment when a video is broadcast to put the arena in the dark and quickly come to the ring with the superstar, who will then go hide. Moreover, he will even have a small screen to follow everything that is happening and know when it will be his turn. On the other hand, it has already happened that they do this in a much easier way. At the St. Valentine's Day Massacre show in February 1999, the Big Show started in the WWE by interfering in the match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon at the very end of the show.
Go to WrestleMania! Wait a minute! My God!
On that day, he was hidden for hours under the ring with just a mattress and food, which I think is completely crazy to imagine. As we know, pro wrestling is scripted, and the superstars are therefore actors who must cooperate to tell a certain story. Even if they may give the impression of hating each other, it is crucial for them to communicate. They even go so far as to speak directly to each other in the ring, and not always discreetly. One of the most famous superstars, John Cena, is known to be one of the wrestlers that you can hear the most when he is communicating with his colleagues in his matches. By paying attention to it, we have very often seen him shouting instructions in the ring. This is something that can be counterproductive since it can take the spectator out of the match and remind him that everything is choreographed, while the goal is to give the illusion of the opposite. It's funny to point out that one of Cena's greatest opponents, CM Punk, already said that with the leader of the C Nation, even the spectators with the cheapest seats could hear him yelling about the moves they were going to do. However, CM Punk also liked leading the matches, so Cena didn't need to lead everything, which was a relief for him. As you may know, John Cena was also involved in one of the most spectacular moments of all time. That has fascinating secrets. We're at the Backlash show in 2009, a few weeks after WrestleMania. On that day, Mr. Hustle Loyalty Respect faces Edge for the heavyweight title in a last man standing match. To win, you must manage to stay up and leave your opponent on the ground for 10 seconds. I can only recommend this confrontation, which is violent and spectacular, with two wrestlers who have an incredible chemistry. In the finish, Edge will want to destroy Cena for good with a chair shot, but the Soldier will get up. At that moment, the Big Show will make a smashing arrival and hit him with his chokeslam through a big light spot. Mr. You Can't See Me goes through the glass and there is even an explosion in a very impressive moment. Let me reassure you, it was all planned and they did it safely. First, the explosion happened behind the light spot, and not on John Cena, of course. As for the glass, it was actually a special material that looks like it, and that breaks easily. Sugar glass. There is also not the slightest risk of cutting yourself and bleeding. Finally, they also put small carpets inside the spot to cushion John Cena's fall. That's it, you know all the secrets behind this iconic moment, which has been meticulously prepared. But it is nevertheless true that it was epic, a nice way to conclude one of the great rivalries of the early 2000s.
Welcome to Monday Night Raw!
The two big WWE weekly shows, Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, are television shows. Like all other TV content in the United States, there are a lot of commercials, sometimes even very short ones. So we can wonder what the wrestlers do during these interruptions, whether it's during a match or a moment when they have to speak on the microphone. First, you should know that the referee receives the indication in his ear when it is time for a commercial. He warns the wrestlers himself. Sometimes a commercial cut can offer a surprise. On November 12, 2015, during a SmackDown recording in Manchester, England, The Undertaker appeared during a commercial to destroy Wade Barrett. We imagine that the fans on site must have been happy, because the viewers will not have the chance to see this scene. We will have an illustration of how WWE works with commercials at the end of 2023. Roman Reigns was in the ring and Randy Orton was arriving to do a promo. But during the Viper's entrance, there was a commercial break, and at the end of this interruption, Randy will still be doing his entrance. In fact, we could see on a video filmed by a fan that the legend was waiting next to the ring during the commercial. It might look weird, but he wasn't doing anything. For a few minutes, Orton had to wait, and yet the viewers won't know anything about it. As you will have noticed, the WWE is like a movie studio. There are special effects, stunts, production secrets. One area where we could notice it was the use of fire, with wrestlers who sometimes burned. It reminds me of a memorable scene that happened at the Unforgiven show in 1998. The Undertaker had a match against Kane, and not just any one. The Inferno match. For the first time, we saw this stipulation where the ring is surrounded by flames and where the goal is to set your opponent on fire. If you have never seen this confrontation, go watch it because it is mind-blowing, with this moment for example. The end of this match is just as crazy. The Undertaker will push Kane towards the flames and his right arm will catch fire. When we see this, we think it must have been horrible to burn like this. Kane is really superhuman. Well, he is a monster indeed, but there is an exciting secret behind this scene. First, Taker made his rival go down, which would enable him to discreetly put his right arm under the ring. Meanwhile, the Phenom was diverting everyone's attention by going after Paul Bearer. At that moment, Kane was able to get some stunt gel on him, a cream that stuntmen use. It enables you to set yourself on fire without being burned. After that, the big red monster goes backstage, where WWE employees will put out the fire on his arm with a fire extinguisher. On June 28, 2021, on Monday Night Raw, there was an absolutely spectacular sequence with fascinating secrets. On that day, there was a match between John Morrison and Ricochet. It was the time when the WWE shows took place in the Thunderdome without a crowd because of the global context. At one point, the first one was on the barrier and then the high flyer will jump from the ring on him. Morrison really got destroyed during this spot since he had Ricochet arriving at full speed on him. A little later, we'll see them both smashed on the ground. Yet they didn't really land on the ground, as one might think. Obviously, it was still an admirable feat, but in the frame we can see some piece of a gym mat. It was on that thing that the wrestlers landed and WWE employees immediately put it away afterwards. Because of the cameraman, their trick was revealed in the open, but that doesn't change the fact that this stunt was crazy to watch.
I had something to say! You just made the list!
In the WWE, all the actors must manage to bring the viewers into a story, but they absolutely have to communicate with each other in a secret way if there is an unforeseen event, for example. There is a coded gesture that has already been used several times, and its explanation is very interesting. As you can imagine, it is a very physical discipline, where accidents and injuries are common. However, it is necessary for the actors to know when a wrestler really has a problem that prevents him from continuing the match. This is what led to the coded gesture of the X. If you look closely at a match, you will notice that the referee always comes close to a wrestler after a big move or a dangerous spot. At that moment, if he tells him that he has a problem, or that the wrestler does not respond, the referee will do the X sign. This is a coded message to WWE officials to eventually end the match sooner than planned and to call for the medical team. This is what happened at the One Night Stand show in 2008, for example. In his match against Triple H, Randy Orton landed badly when he was thrown out of the ring and he broke his collarbone. We could see the referee doing the X sign. They had to improvise a finish that was not planned, obviously. The game won thanks to a sledgehammer shot. All this shows us how wrestlers must always be reactive and adapt to any situation without going out of character.
In return, he shows his disdain.
The Great Khali was a 7'1" giant with an impressive power. At the Unforgiven show in 2007, he had the opportunity to show it. While he was going to face Batista and Rey Mysterio, he had a scene earlier in the evening where he was given a watermelon. Seeing him explode the fruit suggested how terrifying his vice grip move was. Even if Khali is a colossus with superhuman strength, there was still a little trick behind this. To make it easier for the Indian, there was a gash on the watermelon. It was not shown to the camera, of course, and it made it easier to crush it. But hey, Seeing the hands of the great Khali, we imagine that he would have destroyed it anyway.
Mickey Henson better call this match.
We can say that the pro wrestling universe is absolutely fascinating. I hope you had a good time watching this video, and I invite you to stay on the Paradise of Wrestling to look at some other ones. See you right away.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so. What?